Welcome to Reckoning Brothers, everybody. I'm Mark. I'm talking to Scott in California and Josh in whatever city he's in.
I was trying to catch you in the middle of your rant. We've done that a couple of times, and it's actually been...
I don't know. There was probably some things in that rant that I didn't want on the internet. I don't know. I don't even know.
You say things every time we record that are just horrible that I have to edit out. Bigoted, sexist,
Racist,
oddly anti-Scandinavian, just not just anti-Scandinavian economic policies, but just anti-Scandinavian for like no reason, shit that nobody says, and I have to cut it out. So it's not a big deal, man. It's not a big deal.
I just want to say congratulations, Scott. A week ago, we were at your wedding.
Thank you. Yes.
And it was a lovely wedding. It was a lovely service. I love the guy who performed the wedding. I don't know if he was a clergyman or what. He didn't sound like a clergyman. Yeah, it was really, really nice. Congratulations to you and your beautiful bride.
Thank you. I'm glad you guys were both there. That was amazing.
You know, I saw lots of secular Jews from California there, which is great. I met your mom, I don't know how many times, when we used to work together, because she would come in every once in a while. But I had never met your father. And your father didn't look anything to me like I pictured that he would look.
What kind of hook-nosed figure did you have in mind that he would look like, I wonder?
No, it's just your dad. I don't know. Your dad seems like really like the superest nice guy.
Oh yeah,
is he really?
He's an extremely nice guy. Yeah. Very.
What did your dad do? What did your dad do? What did he do when he was in his heyday?
HVAC engineer.
An engineer. Your father was an engineer.
HVAC engineer. So like they're not spending 8 years in school. They're just designing, duct work for a building. How you would have it set up.
That's complicated stuff.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
For that, I'll agree with Mark on this one. Your father was not as visually as I expected him to be. I think it may be because you're a little taller than him. Is your mother tall?
Yeah, she's a tall woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what it was. But man, I'm glad you guys came. I'm glad you had a good time. I was super happy with it. Super happy with everything that happened, and glad that you were there. Mark, you threw out your bag beforehand, so we didn't get to record while you were there, and that fucking sucked. But you're doing better now, so that's great.
Yeah, it was, and contrary to popular belief, my back problem wasn't caused by the HIV virus. But I'm okay.
It was caused by the hepatitis. So,
what are we going to talk about today, guys? I think the two biggest things this week: the deal negotiated by Donald Trump in the Middle East, right? Which is which is absolutely fascinating when you think about it. I want to make this perfectly clear. I want to lay to rest. It should lay to rest every single fuckwad on this planet who's been whining and moaning and bitching about genocide, Jewish Nazis and genocide. I think it was 19. The entire Arab world. Donald Trump went to. You don't have to like Donald Trump. You don't have to have voted for him. You don't have to be a fan of his. This is not praising. This is not like some kind of rant about the great Donald Trump. Donald Trump went to Israel and gave a speech in front of the Knesset, and it was standing ovation, and they cheered him for like 2 hours. And then he got on a plane, went to Egypt, and got the entire Arab world to sign an agreement on a ceasefire and got the hostages back, an agreement that was negotiated by his Jewish son-in-law and his Jewish envoy. And 19 Arab countries went along with it, signed on to it. And I just want to make this very, I can't stress this enough. If you've been peddling that fucking nonsense about Israel genocide for the last 2.5 fucking years, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, because that doesn't happen. The Arab world and all these countries didn't come together in Egypt and sign a ceasefire deal negotiated by that was celebrated by the Israeli Knesset, Israel's prime minister, 19 Arab countries, negotiated by Donald Trump's Jewish family members and his Jewish envoys. So put that fucking canard, that fucking lie, that fucking Hamas propaganda lie to rest, period. End.
You know it's not going to, though, right?
No, it's absolutely not going to. Because anyone that knows anything about what's happened there knows that it is not a genocide. And if it is, the one thing the Jews are horrible at is genocide, apparently. They're just not good at it at all because they're spending way too much time worrying about civilian lives to succeed in their genocide. They're really, really bad at it. So either they're not genocide or they're the world's worst genociders.
And once again, the entire Arab world wouldn't have come together and signed a peace agreement negotiated by Jews and acceptable to the Israeli Prime Minister and the Knesset and Israel.
I just want to chime in here. I'm not a big Trump fan. And a lot of times I'll poke holes or, argue back when you say positive Trump things. But this is an absolute good that Trump did. He should be shouted from the rooftops for what he did here. I don't think the Nobel Peace Prize is out of the question. I could easily see him getting it for this, especially if, it's too early to tell, right? There's still, there's been at least one airstrike that I know of and you've got also Hamas is killing Palestinians in the street after this thing was signed. Go fucking figures. Crazy cults do crazy cult shit. What a weird fucking surprise. But it is amazingly good. He was getting cheers from the Jews and the Arabs for the same thing. That's fucking amazing. Just stop thinking about that. Dude, when I was I knew you wanted to talk about this. I was doing research. I read an article by NPR that praised Trump about this. Whoa. National Public Radio praised Trump about this. So I could really easily see, just like we have a lot of fatigue for wokeness, I could see that wokeness fatigue just kind of translating into Hamas supporting fatigue at this point. The Hamas is wonderful at propaganda, spectacular at propaganda.
Oh, they truly are.
If Israel would have shown and pushed and did the same kind of propaganda campaign that Hamas did about the attacks on October 7th, we could be looking at this thing differently. People are just simply responding to the feeds that they say. They live in a bubble. They don't think things through from first principles. They don't seek out information beyond their silo, blah, blah, blah. We've talked about this 1,000 times. But Mark, I've wanted to ask you for the past few weeks, do you think Israel made a mistake in not what's the phrase? The phrase is Israel doesn't do PR badly, they just don't do PR. Is there truth to that? What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, that's very true. And I don't know if it's a mistake or not. I really don't. Because they're going to get accused of the worst possible things imaginable anyway. Like what would be the point? Like, they're already no matter what the Israeli government says or the IDF says, and they can have video, right? They will have it on video of Hamas executing people, right? And then the sites on social media like Drop Site News, the Cuds News Network, etc., the foot soldiers for the Hamas pro-Palestinian cause. It doesn't make any difference what videos exist, who took them. It's always Israel's fault.
I think they should fight tooth and nail in the propaganda war, just like they do in the actual wars on the ground.
But it's like when you see them like give up and they just have this laissez-faire, like no one's going to listen to us anyways. It just seems so like I'm taking my ball and going home. Like, dude. Propaganda war is everything from now on, dude. Social media is so important for shaping young minds. Do you want to exist in 20 years or not?
So, all right, well, let's segue from, I don't know, should we have a final word? Should we close this out? I just want to reiterate once again, I really don't think that people realize that a lot of people do not appreciate how big of an accomplishment it was. And I know, there's all kinds of headlines, especially lots of social media headlines and, fulminations about, there's been some breaches in the ceasefire, etc. The 20-point plan put together and the Arab world, signing on a deal that's going to inevitably rebuild Gaza is fucking huge. Fucking huge, man.
But yeah, so you see my point. I love the fact that you get it, and I hope that they start with the propaganda war, and I hope it's disrespectful to the hostages. I understand why when they showed here in Los Angeles footage from October 7th, it was at a closed viewing with only selected people invited. I get it,
Yeah.
but it doesn't help us
No.
trying to make this when there's college kids that see a few videos of horrible things. Of course, we all fucking the Palestinians are victims for a lot of reasons, not just bombs dropping on them, but the fact that they're born under Hamas and have been
Yeah.
taught to hate since the second they came out of the fucking womb also
Yeah.
makes them a victim.
Yeah.
And this is help us help you. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. No, I just think it's really smart and really, really very, very on point, Scott. I'm reading this story now, and it just blows me away. Officials confirmed jewelry was stolen from the Louvre Museum in Paris. The robbers escaped with 9 pieces of jewelry from Napoleon and the Empress's collection. Holy fucking shit! We are Matt Damon and
I was just going to say, was it George Clooney or Gene Hackman still alive somehow, and he did it?
Tom Hanks was the most recent in the Louvre, but after that they tore off on a moped. I don't know if you read this, Mark, and they found one of the priceless relics, like a crown, like a queen's crown, just laying in the street.
That's the plot to the French Connection. This didn't happen in real life. This is just a plot to the French Connection. I had no idea. Oh my god!
This literally happened, and I'm just marveling at it.
Wow. Okay, that's fun. That's kind of if there is going to be a fun news story, that's a fun news story.
Yeah,
no one probably got killed, right?
I think the other fun news story was this No Kings, the No Kings protest yesterday, and I want to see, Scott, what was your you had to have seen something about it on on the news or as you lived your daily life in California yesterday. Maybe you drove by some of it. I don't know. I know how you people in California love to protest, but did you see any of it? Did you
Not this time. I have before, and it's just people with oversimplified opinions. It's angry people. It's just like we were talking about before. It's people in their silos, and it's not that there's something there to motivating them that's coming from an honest-ish place, but it's being manifested in this oversimplified. Just oversimplified is I could say that all day long. It's just oversimplified.
Yeah, what struck me about it more than anything else when I saw reams and reams of video, every single video I saw, most of the people that were boomers. They were great. They were old people. They were gray haired. It was like watching I don't know, survivors of Woodstock or Manson's extended family or the retreads from the nuclear freeze movement. They were all gray haired old hippies is what they were like. I'm talking 60 or 70%, in a sea of people, and just hundreds of dots of gray hair, right? All these old people, and I'm like, how do you get to be 70 years old and put on a furry costume or put on a Donald Trump balloon suit and go walking around talking about no kings? The political party you're a member of fucked Bernie Sanders out of the nomination 2 times in a row in 2016 and 2020 so they could coronate Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. And then they refused to hold a fucking primary last year so they could coronate Kamala Harris. And you're out there protesting kings.
They take the democracy out of Democratic.
Well,
for sure.
What the fuck is that about? How do you square that fucking circle? How do you fucking do that? And then I don't give a fuck if I get in trouble for this. So it was a lot of old people, it was a lot of old boomers, a lot of Woodstock survivors, right? And then I think half of the rest of the group were people on public assistance. They're the fucking parasites of society, right? They're the ones that are on fucking benefits that don't have jobs, have never had a fucking job. And they only and their deal is to go out and protest, That's their fucking deal. It's a fucking hobby.
It checks out. I guess the first rule of protesters is you can't be going to work that day, right? I mean, it's
Well,
going to
you know,
automatically select against that.
Saturday. A lot of people don't. It was a weekend, etc. Right? So like that. But like honestly, and yeah, there were some huge crowds, and supposedly it was 7 million people. And then like all the comments on all over from reporters, people in the media, people from from the influencer crowd. It's if only these people had voted, we wouldn't have Donald Trump. We should if everybody had voted Cameron to be president, we'd all be at brunch right now. And all this.
I saw that sign.
Was
Yeah.
the Doug Harris thing? Was the Doug Harris thing real, or was that AI?
No, well, that was like Kamala Harris's husband. He was with the protesters, and one of the protesters had a sign that said, "If we'd elected Kamala, we'd all be at brunch right now." It's just so stupid. Like, your wife's party wouldn't have a fucking primary. They coordinated your fucking wife, and you're out there at a No Kings protest. Go fuck yourself.
I don't think you're going to get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
That seems like a pretty obvious.
Bernie Sanders of all people, and AOC, like Bernie Sanders and that fucking kooky old Marxist who everybody laughed at for 30 fucking years in Washington because all he did was run around filleting Marxist dictators in Central America and praising the Soviets and praising Castro, like the man that everybody, that literally, even leftists in the Washington press corps laughed at him every time he walked into a room. That motherfucker went on stage yesterday talking about no kings. You got fucked over by the political party that you are standing up there representing right now. Twice. They fucked you over. They stole the nomination from you. And then they just canceled their primary process so they could nominate the woman that you voted for president this last time. You old crazy fuck.
So you don't like Bernie Sanders much?
No, the only thing more hypocritical than Bernie Sanders standing on stage with members of the Democratic Party machine like Chris Murphy, etc., and everybody who was up there sharing the fucking stage with. The only thing more hypocritical than Bernie Sanders prattling on about no kings is Bernie Sanders, the multimillionaire, prattling on about Marxism. Go fuck yourself, Bernie, you crazy old fuck. Can you tell I need a fucking cigarette?
Yep.
And a drink.
There's no way you're gonna with all this crazy shit going on. There's no way you're gonna quit smoking. But I applaud that you are.
I'm gonna go out and buy a pack of fucking cigarettes. I swear to fucking God.
No.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
You don't need them.
Cigarettes were my friend.
No, they're putting you in the grave. Friends don't do that. Your friends give you shit and call you, an AIDS recipient and all kinds of other shit like we do, but we don't destroy your lungs. Maybe just your sanity, but man, you're right. Those protests seem silly. People just want to hang out. They want something to do. I guess it's because it's what makes me not so bothered by it. I don't take it seriously enough.
Really, honest to God, here's the way most of the people in this country spent yesterday. They spent it going to pumpkin fairs and farmers markets and watching college football and cooking some chili and some cornbread, right? And they drank some beer with their friends. I went out to dinner at a German restaurant and had some beer and some fucking great German food and hung out with some great people. The social media, news, no kings, protest, this. Most people had no idea that there was a fucking no kings protest yesterday. Right? I mean, they may have had like a vague notion that it took place. They heard about it, and maybe they watched a 20-second clip, while they were switching channels on the television. Most people didn't give a fuck about about the No Kings protest, and they didn't dress up in funny-looking costumes. They didn't dress up like a Cheeto balloon, like the Trump balloon, or in a raccoon suit, or like I guess the Antifa frog is big now. But if you're 70 years old or 45 years old and you're dressing up in funny-looking outfits to go out and protest and say that you're Antifa now and compare yourself with the guys that were storming the fucking beach at Normandy, you're a
Go
fucking
fuck
lunatic.
yourself.
Yeah. No, you have a mental problem. You have a fucking mental problem.
And
You
go fuck yourself.
are not fighting fascism. You're not Antifa. You're not anti-fascist. You're not fighting anything. You're out there doing performative shit in a sea of people. It probably smells weird, and you're in a stupid costume. And if you were a normal person, you'd be spending time with your family or your friends. You'd be watching college football. You'd be watching a movie on Turner Classic Films. You'd be taking a drive and looking at the fucking leaves. You'd be out at a fucking Oktoberfest. You'd be like doing what normal people do.
How many times have we said on here, beware people that get their spiritual meaning through politics, right?
Oh my fucking God.
What's that?
No, yeah, fuck yeah.
It's like,
it's a fucking religion.
Yeah, and it is virtue signaling to your friends. It's a hierarchy. It is kind of like gossipy church in a way, right? It is kind of like. Josh, I talked on here before about one of the things that I think you said you didn't like so much about some of the church people is there's kind of that gossipy, like, like, oh, did you see what they did? Da, 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 da. And there's this weird hierarchy and everyone's virtue signaling.
Very analogous, Scott. Very, very analogous to that. Exactly. Yes. Right. And I'm a better person than you are. I've got some kind of moral. I've got some. They really, truly, honestly believe that they have like some kind of moral compass that is better than the people that stayed home and baked some chocolate chip cookies, spent time with their family, watched a little bit of football, maybe watched some baseball playoffs or whatever.
I'm not a psychologist, but this is they're probably doing this because they know deep down that they aren't very good people and they're not doing what they could. They're probably not working and giving a portion of their money to charity. They're probably not doing that. They're probably not trying to actually make something better for somebody else in their lives by their actions, right? Yeah. It's just they have this need to feel righteous. Yeah. There's some kind of evolutionary reason for it. I don't know. I'm not a fucking scientist, but I bet there is.
Oh, no, I think
that's what they're doing.
You're absolutely right.
And you just do it the right way, man. Like, just fucking give away some money to charity. I do. It feels really good.
Yeah.
Just do it every month.
Yeah.
Pops up. And you get little, like, thank you emails from the places, too.
Or volunteer some of your time doing something.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mentor a kid. There's a guy named King Randall who has a. I just could throw a plug in here for anybody who's listening. Go on Twitter and type in King Randall, Randall, DALL. He has a school in Georgia for disadvantaged kids. It's completely. He gets no government money whatsoever from anybody. It's all from donations, and he teaches boys how to be. He teaches boys how to become men, and he teaches them. They have classes. They live there. It's almost like a boarding school. Yeah, exactly. Right. And sometimes it's just a parent calling him up saying, "Hey, my kid's incorrigible. He's out running around in the streets. He's becoming a fucking thug, and I can't manage him. I'm giving him to you." And sometimes family courts used to put kids into places like that. But he just does great work. He has the boys put on suits. He'll walk like 25 of them out to a car, right, and go, "Yeah, any of you guys know how to check the oil on a car? We'll teach them how to check the oil on a car, how to check brake pads on a car, how to change a faucet, all kinds of little, Mr. Fix-It things." But then he also teaches them stuff that you really wouldn't think that kids need to be taught, but they do. Like, I saw a video of him the other day teaching 9, 10, 11-year-old boys how to shake hands with a firm handshake and introduce themselves.
You do need to learn it.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. Yeah.
I'm not a wealthy man. I don't have a lot of charities that I give. I have a few small ones that I give to. I give $20, not dollars. I don't, I don't do $100 a month. I don't do anything regular. It's just like, whenever I see something that he's doing, catch a video or whatever, and
It's still way better than joining a protest for something that you don't understand and you don't have a solution or an alternative to what you're protesting against. I bet it's better than that.
yeah, and I just want to repeat this one more time for everybody in the back, for anybody sitting in the back. You're not an anti-fascist. You're not fucking Eisenhower's troops storming the fucking beach on D-Day. You're not protecting the country from fascism. You're not protecting the country. You're not protecting your neighbors from fascism or yourself from fascism. You're not. You could call yourself Antifa all you want and fucking equate yourself with the greatest generation, with guys like my father. You putting on a silly costume and going out and protesting a duly elected president who wants every swing state, won the electoral college, won the popular vote, who has to do everything like every other president. Like if he wants something done, he has to propose legislation, he has to get Congress to pass it. Right? The House and Senate had to pass the big beautiful bill. He has to have votes in Congress in both houses of Congress to get anything done. He's not a king. We don't have kings.
Can I give more positive advice to these people?
Yeah, what?
Don't blow your protest load because people aren't going to believe you. Like part of the reason why the world's not as good for people that suffer from gender dysphoria as it could be right now is because the trans movement let ridiculous people say ridiculous things and overstep their bounds and blow their load. So now nobody gives a shit anymore, and they won't again for a lifetime because of stupid strategies and blowing your load too early. So if you're anti-Trump, just be reasonable. Try to convince. You're not going to convince anybody. He used the word brunch on a sign, right? You're not going to convince anybody on the other side of the fence if you use the word brunch. 75% of the country doesn't fucking go to brunch, and they don't want to hear the fucking word brunch. That's just one example of many of the stupid things that come out of your mouths. Try to do this with more intelligence. Try to realize that these people that you hate are your neighbors. You don't need to hate them, and most of them don't hate you, no matter what you
It's
say.
a brilliant point. I mean, you're literally complaining about you're complaining about living under a king, and you're talking about brunch, which is like what rich people who live in Washington D.C. do.
Yeah.
That's what
Brunch is
they do.
delightful. I eat brunch whenever possible. It's quite wonderful, but you're not going to convince Middle
Yeah.
America. You're not going to convince anyone. Josh, do you have any final things to say about the Jews before we wrap up? All right, Mark, anything, man?
No, I don't have any final thoughts about the Jews or the Catholics. I just want to tell you how much how much I love being at your wedding, and I'm glad all of us were together, and that was really fucking cool. All right.
Amen. Good night, guys.